will you stand? Will you stand on the side of government mandates that attack your livelihood and force you against your will? Or do you stand on the side of freedom to make your own choice?
Freedom!
For every one of you here, know this, that today's choice may become tomorrow's mandates.
Talk about it.
Yes, say hell no.
Once you lay down, you may as well go to sleep, because you may not be able to stand again. So I say we choose to stand up today, and for the rest of our lives.
Amen.
Let's stand up together, not based on the indifferences of the decisions we make, but based on the right to make our own decisions. Our ancestors have fought for us, and our kids are depending on us.
Yes, they are.
Let them down. We have been chosen to hold the line right here, today. Today! We must never give up until the vaccine mandates are rescinded. All city workers, all frontline workers, all of New York City, today we are one.
Bring those pizzas back.
To stand strong and hold that line.
Hold the line.
Thank you all.
Hold the line. 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 Hold the line.
Hold the line.
I'm a New York City municipal worker, an NYPD detective, and I'm frightened. I'm frightened for my family, frightened for the residents of New York City, frightened for New York City business owners from every background in our diverse community. I'm frightened for our children, our students, our teachers, the staff. I'm frightened for the education system as a whole, just as I am the healthcare system. I'm also admittedly frightened for my physical and financial well-being. I'm of course aware of and concerned by the albeit allegedly rare risk of vaccine-related injuries despite the proclaimed general safety. Merely labeling a vaccine-related injury as rare is a hollow assurance when you've personally witnessed or suffered from one yourself. I wasn't on the job, but I'm old enough to remember the proclaimed general safety of the air quality in the vicinity of Ground Zero and downtown Manhattan in the weeks that followed 9/11.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Then New York City Health Commissioner Neil L. Cohen called the air around Manhattan smoky but safe to breathe. For a while, we all trusted he was right, until one day it turned out he never was. As New Yorkers, every one of us has witnessed family, friends, co-workers, and suffer the consequences of such horrible guidance. Now the Health Commissioner of New York City, Dave A. Chosky, under the authority of Mayor de Blasio, has issued an order repealing the option for weekly testing in favor of sweeping vaccine mandates for all New York City municipal workers. Is New York City prepared to assume the same financial and ethical burden of being so wrong once again? Better question, are the taxpayers? I'm recently married and have a young stepdaughter. My wife and stepdaughter depend on me to be healthy and gainfully employed. I had COVID in July and undoubtedly possess antibodies that in a strictly scientific sense should at least warrant consideration as an adequate defense against this virus.
Talk about it.
At this point, I believe rare instances of vaccine-related injuries pose more of a threat to my family and me than the virus itself. Like thousands of other NYPD officers, I've been coughed on by individuals suffering from tuberculosis. I've been bled on by folks diagnosed with HIV. I've entered the homes of and been in close proximity to an unfathomable quantity of individuals with any number of communicable diseases my entire career. immediately after which moving on to the next call for service and into the next home of a person in need without so much as a moment of doubt from the mayor, the New York City Health Commissioner, the NYPD Police Commissioner, any supervisor within the NYPD, or the general public. For this reason, what's going on now pertaining to COVID-19 is of little concern to a vast majority of the NYPD, and in my experience, the general public agrees. Frankly, I believe my walking around with antibodies for the virus, rather than solely a waning vaccine, is of distinct but rarely recognized value to the public. Yet thousands of good cops and city municipal workers under the same circumstances stand to lose their jobs as a result of shallow consideration by those in power. Are the good people of New York City confident those jobs will be filled by adequate replacements? Will they be filled at all?
No.
Are New York City neighborhoods better served by the National Guard than the NYPD? Is the general public convinced by the reputation of government officials to get policies pertaining to health correct? Would you bet your life on them? At the risk of stating the obvious, while COVID-related mandates may later be determined to be ill-advised and pulled back, just as clean air policies at Ground Zero were, the vaccine cannot be pulled out of the arms of so many already and soon to be coerced into this ultimatum.
Talk about it, please.
I'm frightened of what comes next. With municipal workers forced into becoming vaccinated to 100%, who do the crosshairs then get placed on? Private businesses? Private city residents? Our children?
The children.
Under the authority of Mayor de Blasio, what will the next order under the authority of Mayor de Blasio, what will be the next order of business for the NYPD? Enforce vaccine compliance onto the remaining general public? The city has tasked the NYPD with suddenly and strictly enforcing vague or typically loose abided by laws and policies before, and it has not ended well. These are the sort of infringements on freedoms that lead to people getting hurt or killed, and police officers later arrested or fired. There are many New Yorkers, particularly in minority communities, who still strongly oppose any sort of vaccine-related mandates. I fear the vaccine mandates imposed on the NYPD will pit the police and the communities against each other in ways we can only barely imagine.
Talk about it.
Just look at the animosity that already exists between the general public, between those who chose to or were otherwise coerced into the vaccine toward those who are unvaccinated. The flames of that animosity, fanned by politicians pushing an agenda. The city supposedly seeks to encourage positive police and community relations, yet they consciously drive a wedge between the police and the community with these mandates. This perspective is being widely ignored by politicians, the media, and even union heads tasked with keeping membership safe physically and from prosecution or persecution. Yet I believe it might be the most important issue of all.
Hold the line!
Under these policies, those in the minority community, including minority-owned business owners, will be asked and then forced to fire employees or even forced to close up shop. Expecting peaceful compliance on this is a fool's errand. The public isn't going to be suddenly convinced to trust the government and comply with vaccine mandates because city municipal workers were coerced into doing so, nor do I expect that they should. That leaves police officers in a precarious position when responding to any calls for service in which the initial or chief complaint is vaccine non-compliance. The politicians pushing vaccine mandates onto your constituents, to the city residents who support those politicians and those mandates. As it pertains to calls for service relating to vaccine non-compliance, what level of force against any person are you willing to publicly say you are comfortable with? My answer is none. In closing, that puts me in a difficult position. Will I be placed on unpaid leave, suspended or fired for refusing to take the shot? Or will I be placed on unpaid leave, suspended or fired for later refusing to take police action against an individual who exercises their freedom and body autonomy? I know there are those amongst us who support my message today. Sadly, I also know that there are some who wish to see me fried for speaking so freely and honestly. To Police Commissioner Shea, who I met just a few months ago and was so gracious to my father and I. To NYPD personnel of every rank who under tragic circumstances would surely rush to call me your brother. To the politicians elected to represent the good people of New York. To my fellow city municipal workers and to the general public. We have always been prepared to lay down our lives in defense of yours. This is our 1013. This is your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers, your constituents, and their families' desperate cries for help. Will you run to our aid, or will you stand idly by? Thank you. God bless.
Let's go. Hold the line. Hold the line.
All right.
Hold the line.
We're going to move out from the stage a little bit here. We've got to get...
Don't take the overturn.
We're getting out of the stage area. We're going to move around to the outside here. But there are several speakers here giving their perspective. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. We're making our way through the crowd here. I'm very impressed how many people recognize us here. We're happy to bring this coverage here to you guys. Now remember, if you guys like what you're seeing here, if you like these optics, share it. Get it in front of some eyeballs so people can see what's going on in our largest city, where people are protesting against these mandates. These are White Side Broadcasting.
Okay.
Give us a Google. You'll like it. Give us a Google. People are protesting against this, but if you guys like this, share it. You can visit our website, rsbnetwork.com/donate. You can mail checks to our physical address, 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama, 36830. We're almost entirely viewer-funded network. We don't take on donors.
Bigger.
If you like this coverage, guys, if you want to see more of this, support us. Yes, sir, we are. Okay, we can breathe a little bit. It was a little tight up in there. Big crowd of people. So, if you guys are just tuning in here, we marched across the Brooklyn Bridge as workers across the city have come together against medical freedom. So they're protesting against Bill de Blasio's tyrannical mandates, and over 160,000 workers in the public sector are facing a termination or unpaid leave unless they get a vaccine, and they have to do it by this Friday. So we came out here to cover this. This is something that we planned to do at the end of the week, and now here we are. And that's because of you. That's because of you, the viewer. So I want to thank all of you guys for supporting us here at Right Side Broadcasting. As I said, we don't take big donor money. We don't take like investors. That way, nobody can dictate what we say on air. So that's important to us. And if that's important to you, continue to support us. And one way you can do that also is if you go to the website, mypillow.com. The holidays are right around the corner. You have supply chain shortages. Items are backlogged. Store shelves are bare. And this is only going to accelerate as they're telling you you're not going to have a normal Christmas. So the best way that you can support us is also go to mypillow.com and use the promo code RSBN at checkout for up to 66% off your entire order. Check out Mike Lindell's broad variety of products, from pillows, dream sheets, mattress toppers, dog beds, travel pillows, you name it. Check out the products, get them ahead of time, because holidays, Christmas is coming up in like a month and a half. You don't want to get stuck out in the cold. So go ahead over there and check out his product line at mypillow.com. I mean, this is an American-made Patriot. His company is American-made. His products are made, manufactured, and distributed right here in the United States. You don't have to worry about them being stuck in a cargo ship offshore. They're right here in the United States. And a portion of the proceeds go towards helping us as a network come to cover events like this in New York City, where 15 to 20,000 people show up from all walks of life, different backgrounds, liberal, conservative, etc., to protest against mandates and support medical freedom. So if you like all of that, please support us at Right Side Broadcasting on our website, rsbnetwork.com. Also, mypillow.com. Go get yourself an amazing product from Mike Lindell and mypillow.com. I had to turn around there because I hear some chants. This is great. It's a fire truck coming through, so they're chanting for the fire truck. This was huge for us. I'm going to tell you another reason why this is really huge that we came out to New York City, because you could argue that we're in enemy territory. I don't mean it literally enemy, but this is a liberal blue state. So a lot of people did not recognize this. They didn't recognize the hat. They didn't recognize this, but now they do. They see that we came out here to support them, to broadcast what they're doing, what they're standing for, so that the world could see it. So that was huge for us to come out here. And I think that your donations go that much further for us to come back out here and cover these types of events. So if you like that, again, support us via mypillow.com or rsbnetwork.com. And I think at that point, we're probably just going to pan around a little bit and then give it a wrap. So this was from 11 o'clock this morning that we started here in New York City. Brooklyn Bridge, marched over to City Hall. And so what we're going to do at this time is we're going to go ahead and wrap. We're going to thank everybody for tuning in today. Make sure you download the RSBN app. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter, rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. Follow us on Getter, RSBN. Follow Mike Nificent, RSBN, on Getter. Find me on YouTube as well, Mike Nificent, all right? With that said, we're going to go ahead and tune out here. We're going to wrap here from New York City. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. We will see you next time.